When my wife told me she had a work trip coming up, I didn't think much of it at first. She'd been mentioning how stressful things had been at the office and how her team relied heavily on one another. Still, there was something off in her tone that I couldn't ignore. She joked again about her work husband, a line she'd used before, but this time it didn't sound like a joke. My instincts whispered that something was wrong. Over the next few days, she packed with an excitement I hadn't seen in years. She claimed it was a professional trip, yet she picked out her best dresses and wore the perfume she usually saved for our date nights. I stayed quiet, but suspicion kept gnawing at me. I needed to know the truth. So I did a little digging on my own. That's when I discovered the hotel she'd booked and noticed that her so-called work husband had a reservation there. 2. Instead of confronting her right away, I reached out to his real wife. We'd met briefly at a company event, and I still had her number. At first, she didn't believe me. But once I showed her the booking confirmation, reality hit us both. We agreed we wouldn't sit back while they made fools of us. We confront them where they least expected it, at the hotel itself. When we arrived, we didn't storm in. We waited. The lobby was busy, filled with travelers coming and going. We sat quietly in a corner, watching. It didn't take long. They appeared together, laughing, checking in at the front desk like a couple on vacation. My chest tightened, but I held my composure. I glanced at his wife, her face pale, hand shaking, yet her eyes were steady with the same resolve as mine. We stood and walked toward them just as the clerk handed over their key cards. Their laughter stopped immediately. My wife's face went white. The man beside her stuttered, completely lost for words. The air turned heavy, and even the people around us sensed tension. I didn't yell. I didn't create a scene. I simply said, "Looks like you forgot to mention your real spouses are standing right here." His wife stepped up beside me and added coldly, "And you really thought we wouldn't find out?" Their shock was louder than any words. They scrambled for excuses, talking about team bonding, insisting it was all innocent. But their matching luggage and how they'd been holding hands moments earlier told a different story. Everyone could see what was happening. They were caught, and there was no escaping it. I turned to my wife and said quietly, "If this is what you wanted, you should have been honest. But the lies and betrayal end here." Tears filled her eyes, not out of guilt, but out of fear for what she was about to lose. I felt nothing but a cold clarity. His wife didn't hold back. She told him straight that their marriage was over and that he'd face the fallout of his actions. The man looked defeated, realizing that everything he had taken for granted was slipping away right before him. We didn't argue further. We just walked out, leaving them standing there in the middle of the lobby, exposed and ashamed. As we stepped outside, his wife turned to me and whispered, "They thought they were smart, but they forgot we had the right to the truth." The drive home was silent, but my mind was clear. For years, I'd brushed off the small signs, her constant jokes about her work husband, the secretive smiles, the unexplained late nights. Now I understood those jokes were never harmless. They were warnings I refused to see. When she came home later that night, she begged for forgiveness, swearing it hadn't gone too far. But for me, trust was already gone. Once it's broken, there's no rebuilding it. In the weeks that followed, I focused on myself, on creating a life where honesty mattered more than appearances. The pain was deep, but it came with clarity. Betrayal cuts hard, but uncovering the truth brings back strength. My wife lost not just my trust, but the future we could have shared. And I walked away knowing one thing. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is simply showing up with the truth in the moment they least expect it.